And we're live. Hello, everybody. Fallon here. Welcome to Lore Lines, episode 73. We just had a 14-hour broadcast for Final Fantasy, and I did not catch it, but some of the cast here did, and we're going to go into it for you. So, welcome.
How dare?
I
How dare
know.
you not watch everything that
Ugh.
Yoshi P puts out?
14 hours.
You missed the memes.
I did catch up on a few content creators' videos, though. Mioni's was one I focused on. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it was a lot of fun. I know Foxconn came as a Loporrit, which is horrifying.
That was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
I didn't know what to make of that.
But let's be clear, like every time he does this, it's something crazy. So
Dental, I was also working and I still watched it.
I think you're meant to be scared when Foxconn does cosplay.
It's worse when Soken does it though, because he does it with the intent to just terrify.
I love
There's
that
malice
so
there.
much. That man is incredible.
Soken and Koji share one brain cell. They do it for the memes.
Yes.
Do it for the memes. That's great. Well, anyway, welcome everybody. Comms are open. We're just hanging out, and I think Ayumi had some stuff for us today.
So who's going to FanFest?
Fuck yeah.
That's the plan.
So far, Cobron and I are committed on going. Core Healer as well so far, I think.
Hear that again, that's the hope.
Neela and Fao, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, same Lamberley. I already booked my hotel. Ayumi, I think you already booked yours as well.
Same, yep. My hotel's booked.
We just need to know what concourse hall they are having it in so we can shift our bookings.
As for me, we didn't get to go to a convention this year. We usually go to Otakon in the Washington, D.C. area, but we didn't go this year, so I imagine we can budget it this year coming, but also it's it's in Vegas and
it's a long
East
ways
Coast.
out.
It's a bit of a flight, so
yeah.
Hard to say, but it would be fun, and it's a very rare opportunity, so I think we're going to try.
It's a long ways out, so those of you who need to start saving or can do so now. Just kind of budget yourself out with the plane trip, a ticket, which usually tickets in the past have cost $150. So going by just those, you have a roundabout idea. But get your plane ticket, book your room, have some money on the side for like parking, food, all that. It's going to be a good time.
Just get an Uber. It's easier than parking and cheaper.
Yeah, we're going to do NA. That way I don't have to worry about getting a passport and it not being mailed to me in time.
So I have a passport and I'm heavily considering doing EU as well. Because I was actually planning on doing a EU trip next year anyway. And if we can start at FanFest and go from there, I'll be very happy.
I got a hotel just down the street from the convention, whereas Copron got one a little bit further, but he's using the monorail.
Yeah, so Vegas in July is not a pleasant experience. So I want to be outside as little as possible, especially if I'm going to be in costume.
That makes sense. So you're going to take a cooled train in.
Yeah, and the monorail drops you off right in the parking lot.
Oh, that's great.
Mine's about 2 or 3 blocks, but I'll be fine because I'm not going to be in costume. I'll just walk right up the street.
So Landverley is saying that he's going to get a convoy together to drive there. Where from? Boy.
Right across the street, I guess. That's a huge convoy.
It's funny. Some Mad Max stuff going on.
And twice as fun.
Okay, I can't drink booze anyway, so I'll have tons of fun on my own.
I can.
I know. Let's have a stream where you get drunk again so I can ask you about more lore.
I know this is really low humor, but I'm imagining the Final Fantasy XIV FanFest convoy furry road.
Get out.
Get out.
Says
Not
the
even
resident
I
fat
would make
boy.
up that one. Okay, we're going straight into this after Fow's.
Lamberley, that is an amazing idea, and I really like that idea. We set up a camera and everything.
Foul. You've used your one dad joke permit for the day.
So
Fair.
my biggest issue with FanFest right now is going to be so I don't have a character right now that I'm absolutely in love with that I don't have a costume for already, and I need to make one because I got to compete.
Is Ayumi going to be wearing that samurai outfit from 4 years ago that you never got to wear?
God, I should just bring it along anyway, just in case I
Yeah.
feel like it. It's still in the package and everything. God.
You can
Yeah,
say you're a
I
time
so I had
traveler.
bought a samurai package, a samurai outfit to wear for the Shadowbringers launch, but COVID hit and everything got canceled.
He's
You
been
mean the
wearing it around the
Endwalker?
house. No.
No, it was from 4 years back.
Yeah, end of
Oh, shit.
Stormblood FanFest.
Yep.
I went to that one.
Oh.
So
Yeah, the problem with that Zenetta is you have to model it, and that takes months. I know. I modeled an entire set of Dragoon armor.
Lanverley says I can borrow his dad joke permit.
no, you can't. That's USPS.
That's
You know how long that takes?
Looks like
Okay,
Ayumi
going
used
in.
your permit for me. Sorry.
I didn't use it. Okay, so going into this, who all watched the live letter? Like the whole live letter.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did go through the unofficial translation in the Reddit Discord.
Anyone
We were
else?
in the middle of raiding when the servers went down, so we watched a little bit while we were waiting for it to come back up.
Let's see here. Bringing it up here. So, I believe the first thing that they talked about was just how terrifying Foxclawn's costume was, which as soon as it appeared on my screen, I tabbed out.
So Caslo brings up a great point. The best thing about FanFest is the Encyclopedia Eorzea 3 pre-orders. And usually the Encyclopedia Eorzea is available at FanFest a couple of weeks before it releases to the general public.
Oh, I'll get it. I know I will.
Oh, I'm getting it too. You just pick it up at the merch line. They just put everything in a bag and like, here's your crap.
So the first thing they went over was the 6.2 launch, which was kind of going over how the HP numbers on 8S, on P8S were kind of a little off. But other than that, everything went smoothly. And then they went into Storm's Crown, which Barbaricia, at the release of the patch, what were the intentions of the appearance of the Order of the Archfiends? We want every player to enjoy the story, having the excitement when progressing through it, and figuring out little by little. That's the main reason. So they wanted players to kind of keep guessing as to what's coming next, rather than just saying, "Oh, I fought this in 4. Oh, I fought this one next in 4. Totally, this is going to be coming next, right?" They want to avoid that.
So yeah, I fell for this trap, hook, line, and sinker, because I was like, oh, Scarmiglione's first. Obviously, Cognazio is going to be next. I can't wait till next patch when we get Barbaricia, because she's the one I want to see. And then we got her, and I was just like gawping the entire time. I was like, this is everything I wanted. So I was really pleasantly surprised by that.
Found the fanboy.
Yeah. So all I need now is Ruby and his leg. His leggy leg.
My.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I was joking. I was like, maybe I should just get like a nude Zentai suit for FanFest, run around as Ruby Conte with one leg sticking out, and like pretend to flash people.
Oh, jeez.
Gotta shave that leg first.
Fair.
Just the one, of course.
Just the one. They'll never see the other one.
Apparently, they had a lot of trouble designing the the part of the fight where you get tied up in hair and you have to kind of move around in the circle.
Yeah, that threw me as well. I think it was meant that. Did they mention it was meant to be like that, or like you expect to be
It's
spreading
yeah.
apart and
When you first played it, it makes you want to move out of the circle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they were kind of hoping for, that make you think outside of the box.
Mhm.
Tricky. It was a really interesting mechanic. I can see why it would be tricky to implement.
Also, what product does she put in her hair? Because that stuff
L'Oreal.
it's springy.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's souls of void scent that she's eaten. Sorry.
It's Void Scent L'Oreal.
Actually, it's probably Ashdaya. Now I feel bad.
So going on to Pandemonium, players were excited that La Habrea returned and even had voice lines during the fight. They were able to touch upon most Ascians until 6.0, apart from La Habrea. He had an early exit, but they felt like they wanted to dive a little bit deeper.
So this actually ties into something that kind of itched at my brain during Eden was, if someone's important, usually they get a lot of voice lines in an encounter. Gaia had like half an hour of voice lines in Eden. And I was like, yeah, they're not going to hire a voice actor just for this. So they're probably on contract to come back later at some point. But I just thought it was really cool that they added so many lines to La Habrea. I haven't gone through all of them yet. I intend to, but I was really, really happy that they gave him so much attention because you may not know this, I love La Habrea.
Few others here too.
I had no idea, Cobe.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
I really love the VA. They like the actual acting in the fight is incredible.
Oh my god, Alex says it's Boreal.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. Alex wins the award today.
Yeah.
The shampoo.
So they also kind of went over what they did with the week of delaying with Savage, and apparently it's worked very well. The reviews have been positive, and they were worried about the crafters sets not selling it all, but looking it over, there are the worlds that had way higher numbers of crafted gear than being sold than before. So this is probably what they're going for moving forward, just a week's delay for Savage.
I think it's a wise move.
All about that.
It's a smart move.
I really liked having that extra week. Especially, I'm lucky because I don't raid on Tuesdays. I raid on weekends, so I have several days to get through patch. But if we ever change that, I would be grateful, because otherwise it's like, hurry up and get through the store. I'm like, no, I have to extract every morsel.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just been kind of unfair to any world first attempting people, or anyone who's really just trying to go at it week one and has a schedule. So this is a good move. I think they should stick to it.
I agree. I'm glad that it worked out well on other ends, because it worked for me as a non-crafter.
As long as you have the money.
I have a nice person in my static who was like, just get me the mats. And I was like, thank you, because I am broke.
So they had a lot of feedback on the job adjustments and explaining them. They wanted to continue explaining their thoughts on what led to specific job adjustments. Some things have been taken out of context, and to clarify those better, they needed to go into more detail. The data we've been different. Data we have may be different from the data players are looking at. They're talking about our DPS instead of the personal DPS, which is a lengthy explanation if I went into it here, because that's a FF logs thing. So I'm not going to. It's an evolving process. Only number adjustments for jobs in 6.2.5 and a few more in 6.2.8. So please look forward to that. We've also increased the hitbox sizes, so melee could be hitting the boss without any loss, but by doing that, the now has to balance between melee and the range between melee and range is off.
Yeah, because now
so you may need
the uptime
to see some
right?
adjustments.
It's like they can suddenly have absolutely full uptime, and that means ranged has no benefit for being ranged.
To me, melee didn't have a problem.
They didn't.
I didn't have a problem. I could hit at a very wide range if I just move like a pixel or two in,
Yep.
and suddenly I'm doing my combos, my rotations. But I guess they want to make it so that wherever you are, in front, behind, sides, flank, you can hit it without losing uptime and not having to worry about whether you're a pixel off or not. Which
Yeah, it's kind of a balance to walk, because they did a lot of interesting mechanical things which could have caused a lot of poor uptime for melee if they hadn't expanded the hitbox, but maybe they shouldn't have gone quite as large. I'm not sure what the solution is, but I see what they mean by a problem, because usually the only time I'm not hitting is when I'm trying not to walk off the platform in 7.
they say that action adjustments won't happen until 6.3 either, so it'll be a while before anything major happens. Whenever PvP, Crystalline Conflict has been great. Lots of positive comments on it. Job adjustments will happen in 6.2.8. The Paladin cover ability will be adjusted.
Yay!
65.
Oh.
In what way?
They did not discuss that.
I will.
Damn it.
Make it not broken.
I want to take this opportunity to
broken.
mention
Great.
what's supposedly a glitch. It's not really a glitch. It's actually just
It's a
unfortunate
feature.
repercussion of what the class design allows. So currently in Frontlines, if you're trying to capture a point, a paladin can cover the person capturing the point, and no amount of damage on that person will interrupt the capture, obviously, because he's immune.
Makes sense.
Well done.
So that's probably.
But you
part
see
of
a
the
lot
reason.
of these. You see a lot of these glitches and bugs and stuff in most PvP, especially since it's kind of different rules than PvE versus PvP.
Mhm.
You can get away with things.
I agree completely, and you can play around that tactic as well. I mean, there's counterplay for sure, but it's good they're looking at it.
So this next part is an interesting part because it shows kind of the difference between Eastern and Western audiences. They wanted to go over Island Sanctuary. Yoshida was told, "Do you even know what slow life is?" from the Japanese community. So players from overseas generally enjoy content at their own place. Western audiences, America and Europe, they would normally just log in, do a few things, log out, or if they needed to raid that night, they would, maybe upgrade their one facility, and then that would be it for the day. Apparently, Japanese players have the tendency to do any task that they see it and try and optimize it the way of doing them, aka Excel spreadsheets.
Brilliant.
It's that work culture.
Players see an empty schedule in the workshop, and then they feel the need to fill it with something. But especially overseas, we are seeing that players visit their island every couple of days, like he wanted it to be.
Yeah, I do it every day. Because
do
I don't
too.
let my animals starve.
I
This
don't.
is going to
They
turn
can
into
eat grass.
Neopets all over again.
Oh God, no!
Meanwhile,
Bring that up.
I'm over here letting them like starve because I haven't had time. I've been so busy this last week.
And I've already hit rank 10 on my island, so anything that I want now from my island would be calories for glam and other neat little items that I can purchase from the vendor. So it would
Oh.
just be me getting currency.
I have like 60,000 calories right now, and I'm still going.
Yeah,
I'm still rank 6.
I've already got my motorcycle.
I already got mine.
So
Motorcycle.
Yeah, once you
Well,
hit-
I've got to start doing this.
you didn't know?
I've seen a bike riding around, but I didn't think much of it. I'm more
The
interested
Garland
actually.
Mark III, man.
The textures on these glamour pants. Holy crap!
You can AFK on an island, but only for 30 minutes.
Then the island police come.
Yeah, it's because of the instance servers.
Yeah,
island
it
police.
technically counts you within an instance, but the instance timer is not there. So it's like an invisible one.
So if you see a bunch of AFK people at Horbury Dry Docks, that's why. Because they got kicked out.
Because they made room for you.
They're trying to allow players to place gardening housing items on the island, but we don't have a release schedule for the feature yet. But they are trying.
We should probably do an episode focused on the Celadines.
The
I
Yeah.
islands.
mispronounced that, but yeah, but the island archipelago off
I
of
assume it's
Lenosha.
Ciudades.
Yeah, something like that.
Ciudades, yeah. Is
Sounds
Heaven
Spanish to me
Islands or
anyway.
something like that.
Chill.
Let's see. Going over to the Titania weapons, there was a new challenge with this. Since introducing the ultimate weapons, which look like ass, by the way, just a personal opinion, where they tried to have very flashy effects, our gear design team has been stepping up and improving the quality of weapons and gear. The issue with the stepping up is that the player feedback also steps up.
Hmm.
And Foxclon asked, "You raised the standard too much?" And he's like, "Now we've been asked to add an option to disable weapon and gear visual effects. It's not that simple,
Ooh.
right?"
I was just
Yeah,
talking
if they
about
hadn't-
this today actually with some friends online. The shinies are really great, but sometimes people like the matte finish as well, like they did in Bosnia, where they just removed the effect completely for a different version once you've unlocked it. And there are some weapons in the game that just are such good models that they would they'd look good with or without a glow. And so
Yeah, this all happened because they turned Radzat Han into, a Sonic level.
gotta go fast.
Running around at the speed of sound. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
So we
so-
also Go
In
ahead.
regards to dieable zones, I want to address this because Yoshi P said that when they were limited by PS4, and when PS5 came out, they would look at doing dieable zones. And
Fingers
they haven't done
crossed.
it, and the PS5 has been out for over a year.
So we got some cutscenes, or not cutscene, but rather a screenshot of what the new Tribe Quest area would look like. Did I send that to you?
No. And ooh.
Yeah, it looks
Omicron
good.
stuff.
I'll send it. Give me one moment.
Still looking for it.
Oh, no worries. Ah.
There you go.
Thank you. Ooh.
Very colorful flowers.
Aw, they've changed the microwave background. Used to be cosmic
Yeah,
red.
it's interesting. It used
Pink
to be
and
so
Well,
the microwave
no,
background was
That's
kind of dark matter map of the universe.
that background changes with the weather. That's umbral
Oh,
stuff.
so I just
Ah.
show up when it's pink all the time?
More or less, yes.
That's
There's
what it
3
is.
different weather patterns in Ultima Thule, and that's one of them.
So that's interesting because, weather patterns are generally based on ether, but these are Dynamis weather patterns.
Yeah, it's a little weird. There's also like electromagnetic storms or something that get really, really like funky, kind
That
of
makes
like
sense to me.
Mordono with its like oily texture.
It makes sense to me. I was having a discussion about that today as well. We were just out there. I was grabbing a treasure map for the day, and someone I was talking to just mentioned, like, hey, I know that this is supposed to be made from emotional energy. And I got to thinking about how obviously the rocks below in that first Reatara area, created by Thancred's emotional survive instinct. But of course now it's physical layer, and we're able to mine these nodes that should not have been here prior to our arrival, and we're making them into gear back at town. It's just very odd.
Yeah, the Dynamis nodes. First rule of Ultima Thule, don't think too hard about it.
That's a good rule.
Yeah, because I guarantee you, right now, Dynamis is in the realm of plot device energy, like pure plot device energy that just does whatever the fuck we need it to do. Which is kind of where Aether used to be until Shadowbringers, when they really kind of solidified everything with it.
So here's a question. Ultima Thule, you don't want to think about it. You just kind of want to feel it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because Dynamis
Yeah.
emotion.
Just feel it up.
You just got to feel it, man. Alex gets me.
I'm okay with with the idea of Dynamis just being like, what's your deepest wish? Okay, now it's real, and then it's real, and that's okay with me.
No, that's terrifying because
I know.
Peter and
That's
I
like-
have the
that's
mental
a lot of-
discipline to
was
work
so
that out.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with that. Emotions aren't necessarily the best way to order a universe.
Oh, it's dangerous
Not
as
to-
F.
Like if you've ever had an impulse like, oh, I wish that person was dead, and you're like, yeah, that's fucked up. I don't actually wish that. Well, they're already dead.
Yeah, because the
Yeah,
emotion
that's-
was
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
The thought made manifest machine from Forbidden Planet, which reminded me a lot of Shadowbringers, Amarant,
Hmm.
the Tempest,
Z-
which is ironically based on the Tempest. So
Zental says I'd get banned from Multiple Thule real quick. So would I. They'd be like, why are naked Asians popping around everywhere?
well, we gotta
Speaking-
bring them back somehow.
Speaking of Men in Black, how about those new costumes?
Oh my god,
Hmm?
yes,
The
the
spy
spy
costumes.
costumes, they look so good.
Yes. So we get trench coats and a hat. There's this one picture that I need to show you guys because it's hilarious, and that's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
Is it Spy Family?
No,
Why not?
because this is better.
I can't say naked Asians when I'm in Paradise Reach because now I'm dead. Neil is killing people.
Literally. That is tragic, though. Oh dear.
Tragically hilarious.
There you go.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
There we go.
I hadn't seen this yet.
Amazing.
Sorry.
Why?
I
did
did it for the memes.
Why?
That is you, isn't it?
No, it's
Oh,
not.
come on,
It
come
should
on.
be.
What is this? What is this?
It's the official costume.
I'm sorry. I did it for the memes.
Hey, this will be easy to cosplay at least.
Hey kids, you looking for some
I'm giggling.
ultimate runs?
I'm giggling, but I'm definitely gonna put all the Asians in it and be like, yeah, they're
It's not-
incognito. You
It's
can't.
Oh
not
my
really-
as-
God.
It's not
Now
as
you can
horrifyingly,
cosplay as Reddit in game.
And also,
It's true.
horrifyingly simple as dressing up as L. So
Yeah, Zental says, oh god, 1920s UK called, they want their style back, as does the 1940s US.
no, as does the early 2000s US.
I'm chuckling over it, but it will be great for like various
lady.
types of characters.
My lady, yeah.
lady.
If your character's trying to run a Lalafell mafia, now you have a uniform.
Oh
this
my
this
god.
was the style that came out whenever a badass anime came out. It was just you get your trench coat, you get your sword, you get your fedora.
That's true. You can have a sword with this outfit in the game. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is absolutely gonna happen in game, referencing that because we have samurai in game. So be
gonna be
prepared for
awful.
an absolute horror fest around the Radzathan Aetherite.
Well, you were out partying, I was practicing the sword.
So good. It's so good. That's why I had to find that.
It's perfect.
So we are also getting a new data center.
Dynamis.
Dynamis, yeah.
Funny, yeah. I'm sure that nothing will go wrong with that.
Right.
The four
That's for
servers are called
North America, right?
are very interesting actually for the worlds: Holocarnassus, Maduin, Merilith, and Seraph.
Jeez,
Really?
they get Maduin.
Yes.
Are you
Tara's
mad?
dad.
Yeah,
Tara's
Tara's
brother.
dad.
Yep. Merilith is one of the four fiends from Final Fantasy 1.
Mm.
I believe it's correct.
Yeah, that's what I recall hearing. yeah.
Has anyone played the FF1 remake on Steam?
Yes.
I have.
Opinions.
It's good. I like it.
I enjoyed it.
Maybe I should pick it up then.
There's a secret boss that they added.
Ooh,
I'm not telling you who it is.
that's fine, please.
It's Jack.
Nice.
It's not Jack.
The housing lottery will open up on the new servers 4 days after the launch. It does launch on November 1st. So 4 days after the housing lottery will open.
I highly encourage people who have houses on Balmung specifically to transfer to Dynamis so that I can get a house.
Oh my god.
That's right.
So moving on to the MSQ team. So they introduced 3 people: Natsuko Ishikawa, Banri Oda, and a new one that we haven't met yet.
Thrown to the wolves, the poor guy.
Yeah, Daiichi Huri. Now, Daiichi Huri, he is known for authoring almost the 100,000 plus characters worth of Japanese text implemented at the launch of the Mandeville Gold Saucer.
Oh, wow.
So he's the reason we don't have Blitzball.
Not really, no. He's mainly in the main story, he's mainly responsible for the patches in between the expansions. So he's responsible for the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stuff.
That makes sense. Like how, because if you'll notice, especially during the, what was it, lead up to Endwalker, when Graha was completely out of character, it was very obvious that it was not Ishikawa leading the writing for that.
Yep. They also introduced Banri Oda, which we all know. He's been writing less, but his responsibilities have shifted towards overviewing world building.
Which is what we need. We need more of that. That means they are developing new continents and areas, which is what we need right now.
And he also introduced or showed off the new Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 3.
So, you know what? We should do that at FanFest. We should all just get drunk and read through the Encyclopedia Eorzea 3 on stream.
I'll do it. It'll be great.
Gonna get all that delicious, delicious ancient lore.
I guess I'll be holding the camera and asking questions.
And cracking the whip. When
what whip? I'm doing this.
No, Yumi's going to be passing out drinks, and he's going to be like, keep going.
You're going to have me and Neela shit-faced. We're going to be talking about ancients. Of course it's going to get a little...
It's true.
In the trio of MSL, Hythlodius, and Azam, I'm the Hythlodius. I will be the enabler.
It's true.
Yes. The plot summary as given by Coberon's wife of Endwalker.
So
Ishikawa makes a bad job recommendation. The end. That is everything that went wrong.
That's the whole story of the entire game.
The whole story of Final Fantasy XIV. Thanks. Courtesy of my wife.
That and also join the convocation, Hermes.
Let's see. Going on to Natsuko Ishikawa. She was responsible for the 6.0 MSQ and has also written some side quests for 6.3 since it, quote unquote, fit my field. Questions. She is also climbing the ladder. She does more supervising work now. They're also often called scenario writers, but would say scenario planners is more of a fitting description. So going into detail for everything is too much. So role quests from an example, as from 5.0, as an example because he's worked on those. This is Daiichi Huri. So role quest from 5.0 is Hiyori's responsibility as well. During our scenario bootcamp for 5.0, we were saying that we did everything we wanted to do with the job quests, and then we should swap to role quests. We didn't have space to show the stories and adventures that Ardbert and company went through to the 5.0. Using the role quests here was a really good idea. One request was that...
Pictures for this topic.
Go ahead.
Alex said, do you have pictures for this topic?
There are some, but they don't really show much. I can give you a link to the Reddit Discord where I'm reading from.
It's a good idea to link it anyway, since they're a really good resource for this.
Yeah, good call. Let me see here. I'm assuming this is the right one because I couldn't find the folder.
There you go.
Thank you.
Now I lost my place.
Alex says, role quests are brilliant for the first, but I didn't really feel the ones after. I wouldn't mind new job quests that would be in the spirit of inventing new techniques together with the guildies. If you level every class, the job quests get so oppressive. I understand why they moved to role quests. I wasn't enthusiastic about these role quests. They weren't bad. They were just whatever. It would be interesting if, like, while you're leveling, I don't know if they have any way to, like, give you some flavor for, oh, well, you figured this out, instead of just the skill appears on your hotbar.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice. I agree with that.
Not sure how they would work that, but it would be a good sort of in-between thing, I think.
It's just dialogue. I mean,
yeah,
it's not a big ask. It really isn't. I mean, I keep saying this when the subject comes up, but the fact that I got Demi Phoenix and Shadowbringers with no reason why, when the last time we saw Demi Phoenix was in fucking Coils, and the twins had it exclusively, as far as I could tell. Didn't make sense. I mean, I guess, hey, we saw it. Maybe we talk to them on the side, but it wasn't addressed. So any weird off-screen stuff that you have to assume, I'd rather just have the plot thread somewhere.
So currently, the three of them, Daiichi Huri, Banri Oda, and Natsuko Ishikawa, are overviewing a team that is writing the main story. So those three aren't writing the story themselves since 6.1. Aside from the scenario team, there's the implementation team. And then there is the actual global team, which is the translation team. So there's 3 teams in all, one passing it off to the other. They have a global team for the entirety of Square Enix, but since 14 is so successful, Yoshida pretty much requested his own team. Koji is also part of Business 3 now. He used to be just a translator for Square. Now he's actually part of Business Division 3 now.
You're working on Final Fantasy forever now.
You're here forever.
He got shifted. He got shifted games now.
Well, yeah, he's working on 16, but that's also Business Unit 3.
Oh, yeah.
Which means that Square has an open position for a translator on other business divisions.
Yep. Going over the role-playing battles, where you play as another character in the main scenario. The role-playing battles were a feature that allowed us not just to show cutscenes to the players to learn about them from the story, but rather have them experience the story themselves. There's an extra page in the Encyclopedia 3 that talks about the budget details. So after the 3 steps, you can finally start the actual writing. Let me read off the first 3 steps. First 3 steps: conceptualization, brainstorming, deciding the design specifications. Lots and lots and lots of writing come at part 4. And then finally, implementation. Oda says, no one wanted to write the healer role quest because of the complexity and difficulty, so I had to do it myself.
Oh.
Is that why it was so good?
It was a good one.
It was the best one. Like, at least from the emotional gut punch level, I think the most lore impactful one would probably be the caster one.
Sure.
So
I still think the healer one might have been a bit more impactful for Alamigo lore.
Mm.
Well,
I mean, I'm thinking Shadowrings. I'm sorry.
So as a first step, we always look for volunteers and writers that want to take over specific quests once we decide on how they should look. If someone says they want to write it, we usually let them have it. Since you have been in game development for longer, Ishikawa, you're still using the basic Notepad app for writing? Yes.
Oh my god.
Wow. No spell check.
I mean, if it works, it works. But that's funny.
That's so wild to me, thinking about that.
That just reminds me of how like George R. R. Martin works on a like 1980s text processing computer. That's probably why it. The literal Epic of Gilgamesh dropped a new a new chapter after like 2,000 years before the Winds of Winter came out.
Yeah, and everybody's been memeing on it.
If you did it in Word or Excel, there'll always be some extra converting step. Which you don't have with Notepad. I doubt there are many scenario writers in Japanese game development that use Word. My apology, text I was writing Word. That was from Yoshida. We realized after 6.0 that we need to find a system that has sustainability for the future, so plot meetings are a lot more important for us now.
Excellent.
So constructing the plot means drafting, plot meeting, filling in the details, scenario lead check, lore check. Then it gets passed to the cutscene storyboarding. Implementation discussions, writing cutscene storyboards, scenario lead check, lore check, and cutscene reading and implementation meeting.
You know, I really want to hear about an instance where they had a scenario developed and then they went to the lore check and it failed the lore check. And I really want to know what that was.
Yeah, like I want to know what nitty gritty thing they had to like, oh, we need to change this because it doesn't fit with the lore.
And then it goes over to Yoshi P, where it's drafting quest text, reading through the read-through meeting, scenario lead check, lore check, another lore check, and then implementation discussions.
I like
There's a lot. There's a lot of drafting and a lot of meetings and a lot of checks. Sometimes we finish writing for cutscenes before the other parts because those require extra time and cost to be made.
So I'm really happy to hear that Ponri is more on the world building thing, because that means they basically have this Bible of all the lore in 14 that they reference. And that just means that they're expanding on that more so that they can build more scenarios within that. And that makes me really happy.
Zental says, bet the thing that didn't pass lore check was ugly cat girls.
And that was a unanimous decision.
Yes.
Wow.
So it was Daiichi's wish to bring back La Habrea because he didn't feel like they discussed the character in depth yet. Family was a keyword that he had in mind.
Yeah.
Initially, we were under a bit of time pressure, but we caught up nicely for the 6.2 part of the story. Because the way that we're designing content, every team had to be involved at some point because the scenario is important for everything. Boss design, map design, even the music. We called Hesperos Vampire Lord in the initial development stages, if I remember correctly.
It's not just us.
I believe we called him Count Chocula or Hot Chocula.
Hot Chocula, and then Dracula when he first got encountered.
Since we're doing these steps around 7 to 8 months prior to implementation, sometimes things get mixed up. Something that is in my past might still be in the player's future. So what intentions do you have for the rest of Pandemonium's story? I'm scared of saying too much, but I want to go on a roller coaster of emotions. I can't promise tears, though.
Why not? I'm here for tears. I want to be hurt.
I mean, we're already going to get tears with Thamus. I can pretty much guarantee that.
I have tears, but it's more salt from P7S.
So 625 will be releasing on the 18th of October, and 628 with the data center expansion will be in the 1st of November. And this is where they announced the Fan Fest, which...
Screaming.
Yeah.
Yes, let the salt watch over you.
There was the grand prize winners for the weapon design contest for Reaper and Sage. There's some really sick looking ones, a really nice kind of evil looking Reaper weapon, and then there's another one that's kind of in the design of like a scarecrow. As for the Sage weapons, there's wings that kind of sit on your back like actual wings, and then they fold out to form the newliths. And then there's the joke weapon, which is a set of forks and knives.
I'm really happy about that. I do wish that we had gotten a surfboard though for Dark Knight.
The furnishing design contest is coming up soon, so I'm excited to see what they come from that. The lyrics to Scream should be on the Lodestone by the end of the next week.
Nice.
Oh man, can't wait.
What about Whitestone Black?
You mean
What about it?
Sadiq?
I want the lyrics. Officially.
I've got
It'll show up.
the contest weapons on the screen now.
They're nice.
So,
That scarecrow looking one is even better.
it's really scary, yeah. I love this new Lith design. The reason is obvious, but also I was notified that apparently there is a third-party thing that is allowing players to use the weapons from the Ultimate Raids as their new Liths.
Really?
The fact that this design is being selected is really heartening because they can branch out with fun stuff and have a little more fun with, you know, your shoulder lasers. I just think it's really, really cool.
I'm glad they're diving into the joke weapons because they have that sort of stuff in Monster Hunter, and I think they should go with it.
This
I agree.
the new Liths are forks and knives is just thank you so much.
That's
Sipping the teacup
Perfection.
emote.
Yeah, it's great. It's just glorious.
All Saints Wake. Coming November 19th. Or not November, October 19th.
Can't wait.
And they are hiring, but I will leave that to you guys to kind of look into and discuss. There is multiple positions available. I assume because everyone got a promotion from Shadowbringers or had kind of moved on to other projects within 14 that the positions became available.
excellent. I'm not fluent in Japanese, otherwise I would have considered applying.
Apparently, Yoshida said, so long as you have the imagination, brief qualifications don't matter.
Pretty sure speaking Japanese.
But Japanese probably was one of the most important ones.
And
Yeah.
fluent, no less.
But I'm sure that he meant like programming language or something like that. But he likes to have creative people on his team.
They had marketing positions available. So I was like looking at that. I was like, ooh.
Let me go down to the voice actor part.
Here's the new vinyl LP.
Doug.
It's easy to forget how large Dog is.
I
Doug
know.
is-
Huge.
Yeah.
It's like a small horse.
It is.
So
Probably
they got
larger
the voice
than some real ponies.
Hermes and Amon, which is Yoshitsugu Matsuoka. The voice of Runar, Itaru Yamamoto. And Grahatia's voice actor came back, Yuma Uchida. All three of them are playing Final Fantasy. Yuma Uchida, Grahatia's voice actor, is heavily into 14. The other ones have varying degrees of play at it. One of the other ones are progging Savage. The other one is almost midway through the game.
We had a question in chat. Where do we apply? Truthfully, treating it not as a joke at all, they supplied us with QR codes to the positions. So if you go to this Discord and scroll up to the timestamp 2:12 a.m. East Coast, Saturday the 8th, under the Translations and Live Letters channel, you'll find them. But this one on screen here is the game designer. And then this one here is for market planner, environment artist, and visual effects artist. And then this one here is for UI and graphic designer for console and PC. And I'm sure there are countless listings on their corporate website, so you should go check it out if you have the qualifications and are interested. I remember we made a joke last month when Anonymous was on about wanting to be part of the writing team, and there they were hiring writers. So if you're that person, geez, good luck.
Yeah, and if anyone is clipping this, show it to Moose.
Yes.
Please,
I know Moose has his job.
Please.
Yeah,
He
get
should
Moose
have
a
this
job.
one too.
Oh, he'd be
Because
so
he's
good
not
on the
busy enough.
project. He'd be so good on it.
Because he's not busy enough.
So
Moose, go work for Square.
Right.
Yes, but keep
He's
your
been
current
chased.
job.
Hasn't he been chased off the stage by Koji?
Oh, yes. He put an S where it didn't belong. Get out of here.
I'm really just imagining that scene.
It's on his Twitter profile.
It's great.
So going into the voice actor discussion, there's actually a lot of neat stuff here. I'm going to go over Matsuoka's thoughts about Hermes, where he understands Amon as a character that, despite sharing memories with Hermes, he's ultimately a different person when he's an ally, but the core of his portrayal lies in Hermes. Hermes as a character, as an ancient, is considered an outlier who can't be understood by many, and at worst, he's even considered himself as a completely different entity. That while he understands the concept of ancient death and return to the ethereal sea, but to Hermes, he doesn't, nor that has the power to change death. When a soul dies, it just dies, and their soul's renewed and remade again. And Hermes finds this whole concept absurd, and he's just a character who's always thought about that aspect. He then comments that Hermes is that character where his thoughts will not be understood commonly, but after meeting the Warrior of Light, he became more open to them because he wanted the wall to listen to how he felt about life in general.
He doesn't believe the soul blender is a good thing.
Commenting about Medion, he never really got the chance to ask why Hermes would go this way to protect Medion, but he thought that Medion as an existence is similar to Hermes when he transforms. And when thinking about Hermes, he would spend his effort creating multiple amounts of Medions. Hermes develops some sort of familiar love for them, and then when looking at the final copy, the current of Medion to Hermes, Medion is more of his final family member. And when thinking that if Medion is then brought and other copies then retrieved and brought to Amarot, then they would most likely be destroyed and remade. And he thinks that Hermes will personally reject that notion strongly. Matsuoka finds it hard to describe whether Hermes did it out to protect or not, but Matsuoka thinks it would be much better if Hermes were to bring it to discussion instead of taking the decision he made in the game.
I would agree with that.
Shifting the discussion to Runar, it was the time when Hrothgar was just announced, and when he looked at the character, and his first impression is that it's very tough looking. But when
I didn't like this.
When he read the script, he was always wondering whether he refers to Ishtola as a Nason, which is a referral towards women of high standing, usually used in Yakuza. So he thought that playing a role of the Yakuza-like character, combining with how tough-looking Hrothgar is. So he'd always wonder why he's calling Ishtola a Nason.
Yes, she is not a Nissan. She is a Mikote.
So in portraying his relationship with Ishtola, they might have included portraying Runar on aspects that are not normally seen in him. So the adjustment on the character scenes were quite hard to pull off, but they managed it in the end. Yamamoto-san is happy to find out that from Yoshi P that his favorite character in Shadowbringers is Runar. Going on to Uchida-san and his Graha Tia performance. One of the performances that left an impact on him when he had to take command during what happened in Rods and Han, which, and I'm sure you guys remember that, where he had to bring back the Crystal Exarch.
Oh yeah, I loved this scene because he was. He's not my favorite character, but it's hard to not love the characters in this game. And when the Crystal Tower story was completed and we came back to the source, he was fumbling, nervous mess who was try-harding to impress the Scions because he holds them on a pedestal. And when he takes a deep breath in Radzahan and just Exarchs it up, I'm like, all right, you can still do this, buddy.
Yeah,
What are you
I was
doing?
so happy.
Go rule a country, bro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that and I was clapping for him. I was like,
Yeah,
this
I was so
Raha I want
happy.
to see.
Especially like I mentioned, where he had been so out of character in the patches,
Yeah.
to just see him like go right back to Crystal Exarch when they really needed him to was awesome. I loved that, and I was like, there he is. There's Grahatia. That's the guy I love.
Exactly.
And Jonathan Bailey just absolutely killed it.
It was incredible. Really impressed.
It showed that Grahatia's stronger aspect as a character, while not being similar to the Crystal Exarch, but showed an aspect of how Crystal Exarch would act during that segment, as if he plays the role of Grahatia that took over and inherited Crystal Exarch in spirit, and this is what he paid attention to the most. He felt that Grahatia became a character who doesn't give up at situations that should have crushed anyone. A character completely different from Crystal Exarch, but not also one that different from Crystal Exarch even. And Uchida thought that Grahatia would live on with that feeling in mind. He felt that he managed to portray the aspect of Grahatia during Endwalker, a reliable partner that can support the Warrior of Light.
Yep, a reliable partner that can support. Exactly.
Before we run out of time, I want to go down to the Q&A. So the first question that was asked, if you don't mind, what is the average lifespan for each of the races? Oda-san, it's usually a question for Oda-san, but Yoshida asked anyways, or Yoshida answered anyways. I assume there's no such info even in the lore setting, but still, even the lore setting has such info. I wouldn't think they'd make it public since in the character creation. If players wanted to, they could have created Handsome Old Man. If they put in the effort and wanted to create a setting with the average lifespan, wouldn't that make the character they created to be, pointless because of the age setting?
This is such a weird non-answer that I don't like that they do sometimes.
And I think that they do actually, for at least some of them, like Elzen, they have mentioned that they do live a fairly long time by the standards of like modern.
Yeah, they do, from what I recall.
Well, we
But
know
they've
the
never nailed it
Viera,
down completely.
right? I mean, we have the Vis. We know from the Shard how long the Viera live. It's pretty straightforward in that front. It's weird to dodge this question, I think. I mean, you don't need to say 35 years, but I mean, it seems like all the races live kind of the human norm to me, which is capped out around 120.
Right, and then some live a little bit longer than that, but
Right.
that's about it.
And that's like max, deathbed. You've seen, I mean, we're all real people, right? We're not robots. We've seen the verified, like, oldest people.
Some of us.
Anyway.
Number 2, are you planning on racing new ultimates for 6.3 and 6.5? They are for 6.3. They're developing right now, but they don't think that they'll delay it all the way and have it released to 6.5. So we'll look forward to one more ultimate, and he says it'll be something to behold. Let's see the question number 3 for Crystalline Conflict. Are there plans to implement team ranking for seasons as well? There have been discussions on what to do for team-based, but we want to prioritize on the increase on the base part first. We want to do official tournaments based on region and other aspects, but in Japan, we do have other events like the broadcast that couldn't work much on it, but we are proceeding through the plan behind the scenes, so we're going to start from official tournaments first. There are hairstyles where the front bangs will disappear when wearing hats. Is it difficult to have the front bangs displayed when wearing hats? The hairstyle will be hard to implement if so, or there will be trade-offs to making this work. For hats, we tend to prioritize the design first, and simply, since it forcefully makes the front bang disappear, we have no choice but to follow it. And because of this restriction, we're able to implement new hairstyles in the game. If the request is, can't you do something about it, then I'll have you know that our team are working hard to address the issue. So if you go to our forums and create a thread, it'll make it easy to prioritize which to address it on. If you just say every hairstyle, that'll be hard for us to handle, so please be specific.
That's actually really helpful to be like, this specific one has this specific issue, and then that's something that's feasible to address for them. That's nice to know.
The next one I won't go over too much because it is a Japanese data center thing. It apparently Japanese data center Mana has become the one that people use to look for parties when raiding, which makes recruitment in the other data centers feel neglected. So while that doesn't affect us, that's still disheartening to hear.
I mean, a similar thing happens to a degree on North American servers too.
This next one is a big one.
Hop server or hop data center in order to find a group.
It used to be like that too. Like when we didn't do the server shuffle, they used to be like these servers were the raid servers.
They would
these servers
full on
had
transfer, like pay for the they would pay for the service,
Yeah.
get over there because they wanted to raid, and there just weren't people.
I remember Gilgamesh being big for that on 8.
Mhm.
Yes. Excalibur, where I'm at, it used to be a big raid server because it was a legacy server. But during the server shuffle, everyone moved off. So it's kind of mixed now. We also don't have very many people on it, so come visit. About the place named Corvos that is mentioned in Endwalker. Will the wall be able to visit in the future?
Never.
Well, if you're talking about the plan, then yes, we do plan on visiting that place. And our direction here is to allow to visit places that are actually named in-game, but there are no immediate plans, nor we aren't clear when it will be, so we can't really tell when. But since we are in our second major patch after 6.0, and we do plan on making 7.0, so of course there will be a lot of places we can visit, not just Corvos, but you can also look forward to visiting other places and touch other cultures as well along the way, so you can look forward to that.
So I want to call attention to something Yoshi P said. He tends to be extremely literal in what he says, and it can almost be looked at as a half truth. He says there are no immediate plans, and when he says that, he means 6.3, not 6.4, 6.5, or 7.0. He means 6.3.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a coded answer to say anywhere between not next patch and 7.0's MSQ will be heading there. That's what this sounds like to me.
Yeah, it's a little cagey, but
you
they
can,
have
you can
it in
narrow
the
it down, right? It's coming is the gist, and it won't be like 8.0 or something weird. It's going to be... They have plans, and it's coming up.
Yes.
Will it be a dungeon or a zone? Well, in this game, they never make new zones, except if they are instance areas that you can't walk to. So they made Bosnia accessible via the ferry docks in Doma, but it's not like you can just zone over to it. So if it's not a dungeon and it's an open air instance in this expansion cycle, it's going to be one of those, I'd imagine. And
Someone
if you're looking for a
asked,
full zone, then it's going to be a next expansion, right? Does that
Yeah.
sound right?
That sounds about right. And I'd like Dalmasca to be revealed as a full-on zone and not an instance zone.
Same.
But what is the most interesting raid you've done so far from the perspective of a producer-director and a black mage? The most fun he's had with the job of black mage raid-wise would be E8S. Alliance raid-wise would be the Void Arc series. And other than that would be Omega, is what he liked. Apart from, although we have many themed costumes in the game, but the Namazu seem to be the ones that only have head equipment. Are there plans to create body equipment with the Namazu themed head? Is there a need for this? Just asking if players have the need for it.
I need it.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a need for it. I need it.
And I know I'm not the only one. The Namazu were like the highlight of Stormblood for me. I adore them.
I literally entered the costume contest at the last FanFest because I wanted the Namazu plushie because it was so hard to get.
Nice.
And I got it. And I was very happy.
Hell yeah.
I think it'd be great to have it. I mean, but are they going to make a Sylph head? Maybe not.
So this next one is a spicy one, especially for raiders. This is on job balance. Since there are situations occur when Paladin and Warrior are excluded from party recruitment due to their low DPS when compared to Dark or Gunbreaker, until the situation was improved by adjusting Paladin and Warrior skill potencies. Though this is just one of the blunder, I would like to know if you have plans on making better job balance in the future before a new Savage patch drops, and can't the adjustment and testing team work better in ensuring the job balance is better without having to go through such a blunder? Yoshida, it is quite a spicy comment, but the core issue here is due to the DPS check, especially in the max HP setting of the boss, referring to, of course, P8S. It was a mistake that we committed, and we did have many cases where it went prominently forward with it despite the mistake. And to tell the truth, we didn't have past cases where we overtuned the HP by 1 to 1.5%. And this wasn't to say that it's a good situation, but due to the numerical mistakes, we ended up creating the situation in the end, and for that we are really sorry. One thing to note, I don't know why people seem to think that the adjustment and development team are separated, but they are one and the same. The battles team are also the ones that perform adjustments here, so that they definitely repeated the process of clearing the content they created before they released it to the public. So, in other words, stop yelling at them. They're trying.
Yeah.
Also, he said spicy comment, and truthfully, like, I know this is translated, but the word blunder has absolute subtext, and the fact that they've been so clean through almost 10 years of fairly balanced content where people who come from other games are shocked by how well balanced it is. It's not that weird that the first 2 weeks of a raid tier needs a meta comp to clear it. Like, this is not the end of the world. People need to chill. They've admitted they've balanced.
It didn't need a meta comp as long as you did everything correct.
100%.
But people are like, well, I died, and now I'm not going to let a paladin come in.
Well, that's a DPS
that's
check.
on you.
Yeah, I think they did a good job as currently a non-raider.
It wasn't bad. It's just that people were salty babies.
It's less good than they've done in the past.
Yes.
But to call it a blunder is like, it sounds disrespectful.
In English, that sounds very strong. I'm not,
And he said it's a spicy comment in the translation, so I imagine
it was at least a little spicy.
Yeah, I imagine they used a similar tone.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't there, so
absolutely cracking up over Yoshida saying it was spicy.
Question 7. I love Glamour, but I've always had to depend on external sites to look at how dungeon equipment and equipment that I cannot sell on the market board is like, so I'd like a feature in the game where I can freely check on how the equipment would look on my character, like a catalog. He does think that it is actually possible, so it will take some time, but he's going to move the idea forwards and see what he can do about it.
That would be awesome.
It would probably require a lot of work, but by God, that would be so amazing. If anyone's listening to this, it's worth it. Do it, please. We'd love it.
Help us achieve the end game.
You know, I noticed, I don't know, this must be a new feature, but when you go to log out at an in-room, you can choose the dream fitting option now, and you can check out stuff from the Mog Station on your character.
Yeah, they added that. It's really nice.
So
because it used to be you spend money on something and you put on your character and you're like, I don't like the way it looks.
Right,
I spent
and
money
so
on this. I'm
in
mad.
short, this is just a database thing. They could literally use the same system and just throw the items on there and done. That's a nobody's watching.
It's literally an in-game catalog.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I do remember there being a conversation about implementing joint ownership account for personal housing, but I haven't heard of any updates, so I'd like to know if there are any updates about it. About this, due to the priority we have for the other housing stuff, we can't really touch on this yet, as already mentioned a little during the PLL. Right now, optimization and additional wards are high on the list so that more players who want a house can obtain them.
Hell yeah.
That makes sense. I wonder if joint ownership would help alleviate that, or if it wouldn't. I don't think it would help that much. I don't know. Who knows?
They asked through ARR to Endwalker, are there any dialogue lines that you are favorite, or the ones that left the most impact on you? He said, there are a lot, but the pinpoint on one is just something I can't easily do. But he likes to convey what he likes to convey the most is there's no absolute harmony in this world. Interpretation can change depending on position and stance. And I never like a proper divide between allies and enemies, and each of them have their reasons and motives. What lies beyond we fully understood, and from there we can find ways to work with them is something that I want to convey through the story. And this and this is told through stories of various characters, a case in the future or hope where they can all set aside their differences and work together. And therefore, rather than say dialogue, it's more on the if there's dialogue that is related to the theme. So he didn't really specify which ones, but he wanted to kind of make a broad statement about it.
I think this is a really important statement because it keys in on why there's so many like gray morality stories in this game. It's more realistic. There's very rarely anything on this earth that either views itself as pure evil or acts in a pure evil way. So I find it to be more grounded the way it's told. And that doesn't mean
makes
you'll
it
be
very
friends
human.
with everyone, but it's super human. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes people don't understand that in real life. Sometimes there are people you just don't get along with, and that's nothing wrong with them or you.
Yep. And sometimes things just don't work out. I mean, you're not living their life. So, with a few historical exceptions, I would say.
Well,
it's more
yes.
realistic.
E.
Indeed.
So going down to regarding each side quest, one thing I found is that the NPC where you fetch the side quest will disappear once you clear them, and considering you made your way to establish connection with them, it just feels like a waste. Can we still have a conversation with the NPC even after clearing? Here is a big one. For this question, there are several. Question 1 going to Alliance
H2.
A. Second party Alliance A.
Got it. We're here.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay. The issues are resolved, but the question there are several issues because if we do so, the map will be full of NPCs. But the NPC might end up just standing there, and it's pitiable to them just stand there after the issues are resolved. So, might be a request on adding more stories about these NPCs. Third, rather than say they disappear, it's more like they thank us for helping them solve the issue. And from there, it makes us glad because we don't have to follow up. And I'm really sorry for saying this, but if we keep doing this, and actually we are doing quite a lot of follow-up, you see, like on NPCs that are related to the Scions, with certain NPC, whenever players progress on the main scenario quests, despite them not being directly involved, we really can't work on every single NPC. Well, what can we do here? Well, what can we do here is to maintain those NPCs that are of an important level. So I say this question is similar to the hat question, but if you can pinpoint a specific NPC you want and explore more with that certain NPC in the future, and if you can tell us, then I can relay that to the scenario team and try and have them create stories about them and connect it nicely that might work. So please look into this option and see if you'd like to make a request on that one. So one comment that we received here is that players can't meet Gaia after her related quests are done. But I'll say that her role is not entirely done, so we will have something for her in the future. Eventually. It won't be an immediate one, but I'd appreciate your patience on the matter.
Guys, it's happening.
Yeah,
it's happening.
This is a big for me.
Of course.
I mean, sure, but it's still nice for them to acknowledge it, and I'm very excited.
It means we're not crazy, Kobe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's true. It is
but I'm
validation.
not crazy about this.
Call yourself out, why don't you?
I did. At least I'm honest.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yep, it's gonna happen. Wait for those void portals and restoring the 13th.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Bring on the Eden.
Now, will they bring the Megazord or not? Who knows?
Will they be time skipped into adults or not?
A Megazord piloted by
Questions.
Reen.
I would say they would have to create a model, but we do have one already for Gaia.
That's true.
Not so Reen, but
yeah.
they could adapt Minfilia.
Yeah, if they had Reen and Gaia aged up, they could have.
I don't
Reen
think anyone's getting aged up, but it would be cool if they did.
If they age anyone up, it's going to cause an uproar.
That
an age
and
uproar.
it would be expensive to redress everything because they would have to redress all of the Shadowbringer zones as well.
Would they?
Well, even if it's just they were traveling through the rift and they got trapped there for a decade and now they're 10 years older.
Yeah, no, I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
I
don't think they're gonna bother.
They could just make it plot relevant age upping. You don't have to.
I mean, I could do it, but they don't listen to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure it's worth it, you know.
Mm-hmm. They're also close
Whatever
enough
the case.
to majority. These two are, at least, that maybe it doesn't matter so much visually. I don't know. It's a hard.
Am I
take.
allowed to say holding hands?
Yes.
Yeah, you're allowed
Oh,
to say.
Oh my gosh,
holding
That's
so
hands.
spicy comment.
They went to get
EOS.
coffee biscuits. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, is that what they're calling him now?
Mm-hmm. Aren't these delicious? Anyway.
These are actually quite good.
Yep.
Jenny Flynn says, I think it would open up a can of worms if the twins don't get aged up while Gaia and Runar. I agree. We would have to also throw the twins into a void portal. And, you know, some people would object to that. Meowth isn't here, but you want to do what?
Somehow
Meowth would be like,
I feel
well,
like it would be.
Meowth would just be like, well, let me tell you about that time they did that in the 13 trilogy.
Oh God, you're right.
You would. I just think you'd be able to say, oh, well, they just had their growth spurt in the case of the twins. But I guess that it would probably be a little bit more of a can of worms with them, more so than Rain and Gaia.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a tough one.
Ella's
Right?
and growth spurts are a little. Well, I don't know how much information we have.
We have enough to know that so Urianje says that he didn't reach his spurt. He didn't come into his adult form or begin to until his 20th name day. So it's quite late by hero standards, but you know, by any rational take of timeline, even though it's not been addressed and time bubble and all this nonsense, it's been a minute, guys. If you look at the cosmological issues and the historical developments in this region, this did not happen in 6 months. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
The release of Silda was announced to be 10 days, and it was going to be implemented on the week where our static was going to have weekly clears. And it's unfortunate to see it happen, although I'm receptive of the expansion of the patch schedule. Is it possible for you to announce the implementation date earlier? Yoshida then outright says, why is everyone in a rush? It's fine for you to get the content after 8th week of Savage, and I mean, there's no rush, but why is everyone in a rush to clear the content?
I gotta be first.
This is what I spoke
It's just
to
the
earlier.
human,
Gotta go fast.
the human drive for novelty to be the first one. I get it.
He says it'd be nice if people can take it easy here, and I understand that you feel pressured by the people around you clearing, but could you have just not compared yourself with them? That's what I think. You're going to burn yourself out playing this way.
I've made that
It's true.
exact advice to people who came over from other titles, and they did. They burned out. They quit. I haven't seen them in 8 months. Chill, guys.
A measured approach.
Enjoy the game.
Let's see, there's a housing interior question. Managing a link shell that is specific to Triple Triad. I am not familiar with Triple Triad, nor do I play it, so.
Oh man,
Is
the
there a
audience mode would be cool.
Oh, get me drunk and have a Yumi ask me about the lore of Triple Triad.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Cope, I'm an old fan, Final Fantasy VIII fanboy. You and I get drunk, we'll talk Triple Triad. It'll be funny as hell.
I want to step back
So
to the
you
housing
had to
question.
lose a card
Go ahead.
to him.
I'll let you discuss it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm just being goofy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the housing thing, Sorry for the kid noise. This is an actual issue. It's been an issue for a long time, and people have been able to work around it for years because of the way the game implements walls, larger columns. You're able to kind of close off the columns in a large house. You can do it, but it's not that easy, and especially with the new Ishgardian housing, which has this kind of red cedar look to the pillars, it's pretty in a certain construction, but because of this and say the marble walls that you can buy, it's really hard to make that look good without being able to swap out the pillars. And so I would highly recommend they either have a pillar slot in the housing equipment list so that you can just perma swap out all of the pillars, or at least allow it to be an asset that was like default placement in the house, but it's movable. Either of those fixes would solve a lot of housing design issues, and if no one else does, I know Ayumi knows what I'm talking about because of the FC house we shared.
Yep.
It's just
Yes.
pillars are a problem, and you can't do what you
Having
want.
to match your wall to the pillars
You
of
can't.
your
It's so hard.
housing.
It's so hard.
It's frustrating at times.
While I'm on this subject, another thing I'd really like them to add, and maybe they'll allow us to submit requests for this, but they really need door partitions that match all of the wall styles that you can use. So a marble door partition so that it has a swinging door in it, because that's another issue where it's very hard to match the different housing styles with the doors, and it's just been a
Agreed.
problem for many years, and I know that it's extra hours that they'd have to work for it, but with as many items as they've been adding recently at fan request, fixing the baseline issues shouldn't be that much of an ask. And that's my rant.
Bravo.
There was the summoner question brought up too. If there's continued consideration to allow carbuncle glamour to be possible for scholar pets, like what you can do with summoner. Someone also asked if proto carbuncle could be glamored for current pets. And Yoshi P was like, but you're going to get devoured by it. Are you fine with that? Well,
Hey.
regardless, I'll ask the team anyways.
Some people are into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just about to say.
They then asked him, please tell us the voice actor for Seiryu. Also, there are several entities and external sites that made a guess on who the voice actor for certain uncredited characters were. Yoshida said this isn't a question I can provide an answer to immediately, so probably we'll need to ask the development department about it. This requires us to confirm on the non-Japanese voices, so since we can't just name the Japanese ones, it's difficult to answer. There are a lot of anime roles, too, that don't have credits for certain characters, so I'd assume it'd be the same here.
It isn't that weird. I just think we're curious because we hear whispers of a vocal style, and we just want to know if we're right or not, and then, like, applaud them. That's really it. It's not... That's how I feel, anyway. With Aglaya, for example, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They also asked him for Savage this time. There seems to be a serious lack of healer participation. Are you aware of it, and anything you'd like to reflect on, and any plans to address it? Things to reflect on. He really had to think about it. Nothing much he can say. But we also have situations where there's a lack of tank participations. If you had to make a comment on it, the reason would be the high difficulty content and other factors. There's the request that got us to create more situations to require more healers to heal, among other things. Some circumstances due to the certain wall that cause deviation, bias to occur. This is definitely a possibility after operating the game for a long while. But as for the state of healers right now, I think it's just an extremely... it's just due to the healer population in general, as well as the population of raiders participating in this tier. Just give healers a try.
What do we think about... Well, what I suspect the community's overall impression is that healing is scary, but also for those who do heal, healing is now boring. and maybe reintroducing spells like Arrow 3 into the game, not overcomplicating the rotation, but giving them a little more to do than be Glare Mage. Thoughts?
I would like to actually have some kind of DPS rotation as a healer that
Sure.
feeds into healing.
Yeah, like a
kind of
unified
like how
person.
Sage is moving towards, but more like a DPS that does healing, like a true DPS.
You're thinking the
That's
battle
that
battle
skin
priest
comment
archetype,
again.
which is what Sage is for sure.
Right.
Sorry, the skin comment?
That he made. A meme referring to actually a DPS job and a healer skin.
Yeah, I
Raid
would,
skin.
like Jenny said in chat, I love Astrologian for how
Yes.
involved it is. I loved Astrologian in Stormblood and Heavensward when it was a
Same.
little more complex. I
Exactly.
really enjoyed Astrologian then. And I still, like, they simplified it, and I still don't quite get it, because it's a little too simple for me, and I memorized what all the cards did, and
Same.
now it's based on rolls, and I'm like, I don't know what this color is.
The cheat code apparently is the color of the card will denote whether it's which of the categories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only two
I-
colors.
Blue. If it's blue, it's melee. If it's purple, it's ranged.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
There's
not
also
going
a
to remember
symbol,
that.
which is the thing I noticed. I can't
Right.
remember the color.
I remember the symbol first, but I've played
Yeah.
Astrologian forever, so.
For me, it's like, bowl for tank, ewer
Yeah.
for me.
You've got that memory now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I expunged
I still know what the hell to do.
Yeah, I
Balance also for me.
I actually didn't play Astrologian when they changed it and simplified the cards. I didn't play it for almost a year. It used to be my
Same.
number 2 class.
Same.
I mean, it did have issues though. I mean, I don't want to
No,
pretend like there
not
wasn't
disagreeing.
controversy. Even in Stormblood, people didn't like the card system, and people also did like the card system, and they decided to just make it.
You're
flat
never going to please
DPS, and,
everybody.
right.
you know,
I'm ride or die with Astrologian. Whatever they do, I just hope that they keep it like at least basically functional.
mhm.
You guys ready for the important question?
Yes, go.
There was a
During the
Nassian
previous
question?
live letter, you mentioned that if we were just playing it normally, then it shouldn't be concerning us, and we have been playing things normally. But I do see terms like third-party tools that are against the rules and regulations being listed as required in the lodestone or mentioned in forums. And I personally dislike talking about third-party tools, so I have to mention these players about how using these tools during recruitment and whatnot are being forbidden, and it really makes me sad sometimes. So do you have plans on trying to provide warning for those continuing to use them? Yoshipi is like, we have no plans in trying to delve into this issue any further. I am aware of how impactful my words are when it comes to this issue. So if I were to keep on providing explanation, like saying using such and such is particular against the TOS, it will cause a terrifying amount of mass reports and become an issue of what's the point on even playing the game.
He's not wrong.
So yeah,
He's not wrong.
if you
Many crusaders in the sidelines just waiting to stomp down on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's rampant in use, and also there's like a big Pandora's box if they were to open that, and people being
Yeah.
like those crusaders who'd be like, yeah, we're gonna like report everybody for even the minorest thing
Get
because
him,
we don't
and
like
then you've
them.
got 20 people on the server.
Yeah.
And if you've got, ask me, I would go my way to, if I would go my way to crack down on third-party sites that upload everyone's data, FF logs, and this, well, I'm aware of how much the nuisance that site caused. He knows. Having to see the numbers we don't want to see that are normally not displayed in game and then get told about it. But as mentioned before, that if we are told that this concerns personal issues, it's not something we could. This is something we have to keep fighting with, and that could end up really unhealthily, I think. We were to quash them and for causing such trouble, we would have done it. But still, this is related to the conversation we had earlier. To define things in black and white is something I would find stiff. Of course, this depends on personality. Of course, my real intention here is to do things that are fun, and I think this is what I've been doing till now, and I'm trying to avoid things that cause people discomfort. Still, this is out of topic, but I believe I've been saying more than what I should have said on this matter as a member of this company, as a board director, as a gamer, in personal capacity, and as someone who has obtained full trust from the company, and I've likely touched on this topic more than I should have. So I don't think I'll be able to step into this issue anymore, and I think that we've had enough debates about this already. So yeah, I don't want this game to end up a game that mainly cracks things down, and I don't want to create a game like this either. If we have to remove everything, we might as well not work on the games, and it'll be a game where everything becomes a mess. So even if I get pressed on this issue, it's going to be nothing but trouble. So yeah, I'm sorry that this is the only answer I'll provide. It's the most hardcore answer that he has given.
It's really hardcore, yeah.
There's a lot.
That's a great answer, though.
There's a lot he can't touch on. I get that. He has to represent his company and his position. He has to be responsible. I get it.
I also enjoy how, frankly, harsh he is on the idea that, like, can you just chill? Can you just chill? Like, what?
Can you just play the game?
Just play the game. Just play the game.
I was going to say, unbeknownst to some people, this is a game and you're supposed to have fun with it, not
I imagine
report or cheat it to oblivion.
This is a job.
I imagine he has more nuance on the issue he can't talk about, but like
For
the
sure.
main, like he doesn't want their ESRB rating to get fucked. He doesn't want any sort of like he was saying, like he doesn't want everything to just be a numbers game, essentially. He wants people to just play the game.
Just so.
Next one was, it seems that Carbuncle isn't really active and there's no increasing glamour for Carbuncles. So is there anything you can prop your Carbuncle on? Well, yeah, I see. But when it comes to needing something to display priority and whatnot, Carbuncle is the issue that gets brought up. Well, what do we think about developing items and whatnot is the theme. But if you have some immediate plans, and what I can say here is we're considering something on its ancestor, which is Pro Carbuncle, like their ecology, the way they attack and whatnot. So please allow us to consider this idea for now until we can come out with something about it. Custom deliveries like Zloe or Monago. When purchasing the materials, I would sometimes make a mistake and bought the component materials instead of the component. And since custom deliveries only require the component instead of the needing component materials, are there plans to unify them? We do have a discussion about tidying up the items here, so eventually we will get it through, although I cannot specify which patch. And then the next one was just a camera issue where you right click and turn. I don't play keyboard and mouse. I don't know if you guys have had the same issue where you right click and then turn around and you accidentally click on someone.
Yeah, I've done that before.
It's happened a few
It's
times.
not
Yeah.
a big problem.
It's not a big problem.
Yeah. I mean, I use the rotation keys on my keyboard as well sometimes to specifically avoid it, but that only works if you're not in a hurry and you're not also trying to do other things. As soon as you attack, you get refaced.
Yeah. It's not really feasible in like a raid context.
It's happened to me, but I feel like it doesn't happen anymore because there's things you can do to minimize it. If you click and hold, it really shouldn't happen.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, he's correct on the subject, though. You can disable self-click, but maybe not other-click.
The next question was regarding the 4th tier of Savage. It is definitely challenging content. Healing check on the second half was really tight when compared to DSR. I feel that there are certain parts in the second half of the battle which is comparable to Ultimate. So I wonder what your thoughts are on the matter. As he said before, if I had to give one question, it won't work for the other one. Give an answer to one question. We are told that healers are free, which is why healers tend to focus on firepower instead, and we should give healers more situations where they need to heal. Well, I mean, for the entire expansion we did, but as expected, this happens. So what are we supposed to do now? Man, I knew this would happen.
People will never be happy.
Yeah. Oh, it's too hard. Oh, no, it's too easy. Oh, no, it's too hard. It's not.
And the thing is, you'll have, on the same fight, you'll have one side saying it's too hard and one side saying it's too easy. You just do your best and don't worry too much about it.
Yeah.
If there's specific things that you can say, this particular mechanic is onerous, I feel like this one was maybe a mistake, I'm sure that would be helpful feedback, but it's too hard isn't very helpful.
He does say we need more data. Either way, we did indeed increase the intensity, for sure. Although this was to balance what was asked of us. It's personal disparity. Some people are fine with it, some people are not. It's now a harder game for a lot of people, and, accessibility and all that.
And it isn't like, oh, it's hard, people are going to quit healers. Some people will be like, oh, healer's interesting, I want to do that now. So it's a nuanced sort of situation.
The truth is, this is kind of what normal versus savage was originally for, right? Originally. Now it's kind of like normal is just story mode, and then savage is you're here for the challenge or you're not here at all.
Yep.
Sorry, just looking through how many more comments there are. Things that we need to discuss at length. Someone asked about silk and acrylic stands.
For me, I don't get the acrylic stand thing. I would like a really nice figure.
I like the stands idea, but I would also like the option for figures.
No.
I think they should offer both.
Problem is, figure development's very expensive.
Right. I feel like they're probably thinking stands are more accessible for their cost to production.
Someone asked if there are plans to return the Yokai Watch event.
No, it's done. Let it die.
There are plans.
No.
You don't have to do it, Cope. It's okay.
You can just ignore it.
I do have to do it because I actually like Jibanyan.
Yeah,
they
That's fair.
gave me a whisper mount with Jibanyan on it, and then a Jibanyan couch to fly on. I'm like, I have to do it.
Tragic.
Someone asked I really love the fat chocobo hat and always play the game with the hat on, so I wonder if you can make it dyeable. He wants to maintain the impersonation aspect and not overdo it as much as possible, but since there are many types of chocobos, he will have to confirm this with the person responsible for items. So yeah, he'll let him know.
I think that'd be great and shouldn't be that difficult. You want your red chocobo outfit. That'd be cool.
Right.
But then suddenly you want to dye your frog too.
For the
Is that a
memes.
problem?
Like a fat red chocobo would be so funny.
We can dye the pig, right?
Well, I think the fat chocobo head is the only actual like chocobo head
That's true.
that I'm aware of. So if you want the chocobo head, it's that.
There's
that
there's the race chocobo outfit.
There is a body.
Chocobo hat.
There's
But,
the race chocobo
Is the
outfit.
body dyeable?
The body? I don't think the body is either.
I don't
Actually.
remember. They both need to be dyeable so that we can live our dreams of being the red. What is it? Red comet.
Yeah,
red
comet.
red chalk.
Oh
Be
god.
the red chalktober you wish to see in the world.
Exactly. It would be a very good meme play outfit.
Yes. To go with the red chocobos you
You know,
already have.
that's what someone should make for a fan fest. It's just a good red boy to run around and terrify and drop meteors on everybody.
This is the last question. Currently a second-year student who's majoring in robotics and got hooked with XIV 3 years ago, trying
What
to aim
happened?
to enter Square. But major is disconnected from game design, so what do I have to do to work under you? He has Python, C, MATLAB skills. You mentioned that before, in order to do work on battle-related, I need to have calculation skills, and the subjects I'm good at happen to be math. Yoshida, if you have the skills you listed in the chat, I think you have what it takes to join. I mean, I definitely appreciate skilled people, and you have what it takes to join, but the battle-related task, I wonder if the battle-related content is open for applications. I think if you looked at the battle content section, you'll find that you are required to write a plan on creating a dungeon. So can you think up of one and write it and send to us? And we have Nakagawa Daisuke, who was originally an assembler and worked on things completely unrelated to game and joined us with an engineering background, so I think it's possible. The good thing about our company here is that we're not a company where you can no longer try after you get rejected. Our company will always be open for you to challenge again, so if you want to know what you lack and so on, even if you don't have what it takes, I think this is something we can let you know about. Just so come on out with something with the best of your ability, something you spent your effort on, and so forth. Just create something with the purpose of learning something from it, and with perseverance come up with battle content and its specification that is unique to you.
I absolutely love that. So I am wholly of the opinion where, you don't need to work for someone to make something amazing. You can just do it. And a lot of times that's where the jobs come from. It's not applying for something and then doing the work. Usually you have to do the work on your own. And then they see it and they're like, oh, that's really cool. We should bring that person on board.
When it comes to your literacy, well, we're professionals here. We can definitely tell. So please give it a try. To tell the truth, we don't have requirements on what programming language you should know. As a game designer, as long as you have logical thinking. I mean, I can do C, C++, and I don't know what they call that, C++. But the first thing that they used was COBOL. Yes, I learned a lot of COBOL because of this. So yeah, send your application to us.
That's basically the attitude my static has had with recruiting. We don't care if you're like big numbers. We care if you're interested in learning and good at learning.
It's C#.
Because that anything else can be taught.
Yeah, that's
you can't
C#.
teach heart.
What if I'm bad at learning?
Then you
Well, you're
fail,
not invited.
obviously.
Get good.
I wanted to state on this as well, just how healthy of a corporate philosophy that is. You hear all the time about you just can't get in the door anywhere, and you don't hear an answer back. You don't get the no. You don't hear anything. You don't hear anything.
Dead air.
And how are you going to improve or attempt to get better at something or rejoin or
how are you going to find the holes? How are you going to get the experience?
And here they're encouraging you, just apply. If you have anything close to the requirements, will be put through the paces, and if you don't quite fit, you'll know why. And that's it's good to have feedback.
Yeah, they're gonna give you feedback, and they're gonna leave the door open for you to rejoin.
It's good stuff, though. That's more how companies should operate.
Absolutely.
I guess that's the end of the Q&A then.
That was, yes.
Yeah,
there was some
a lot
good
of
stuff in there.
Yeah, there was some really good stuff.
Yeah, so as always, thanks to Reddit. I mean,
thanks to Luna.
Yeah. Looks like this was posted by Saya Amemiya on Chocobo. Part 3, 1 hour ago. But thank you for the translation, and yeah, I mean, this is really helpful to be able to read it after the fact, because I mean, for one, 14 hours is a long time, and
it is a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot of words translated there. A lot of questions. This is some good work. We really appreciate people that step up and do this.
Although I did skip some questions, they weren't related to what we were going through. You can still read the entire translation with the link that I linked in there. It's really good. You definitely want to look into it a little bit further. A lot of questions that you may have had in the back of your mind will be answered.
Words.
Yeah, just I guess that's it. Do we have any plans for next week?
Yes, we do.
What are our plans and or thoughts?
We will. Give me a sec.
We're going to talk about how much fun we're going to have at FanFest.
Well, besides how much fun we're going to have at FanFest, but next week we will be having Caslo on.
Ooh.
That's right.
So, yes, we are very excited about that.
That's awesome.
We're really excited. He's got a lot of cool ideas. I love watching his videos. He goes into some really cool stuff. So I'm really excited to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit about the world of 14.
It'll be a good stream.
Yeah, don't miss it.
I know Caslo was in chat earlier. I'm not sure if he's still now.
Yes.
But
yeah, he's singing Sonic.
Hi, Caslo. We're excited.
Thank you for coming on. We'll see you next week.
I'm excited.
All right. And then, Ayumi, you just finished up your replicant playthrough, I believe, or do you have one more?
No, we still got to go through ending E, and I just started up ending E, so we still have, let's see, if I really work at it, probably 3 or 4 more streams.
Awesome.
Dang.
And then
That's a lot of endings.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not playing Automata, and that's 26 endings.
You're not going to
One
play
for
it?
each letter of the alphabet.
And then I know
Nice.
on Monday, tomorrow, we're going to be wrapping up 13 as a whole. So
I'm actually beginning to
Don't
wonder
miss
what.
that. It'll be great.
nah, you
Beginning to
watch-
wonder what I should play next. After that.
I'm going to be playing Type 0 after I finish 13.
You should play Divinity Original Sin 2. Let me play with you because I've been fiddling with trying to stream it and my computer is just old and it's gonna struggle.
Joint
So-
Ayumi
Fair.
Nila stream?
I don't know what
Some-
that is.
It's a turn-based isometric
Very good story game.
RPG that's
Isometric.
got incredible reviews. I haven't
And
played it.
incredible voice acting too.
Interesting.
Yeah, turn-based
everything is
multiplayer
voiced.
isometric story RPG.
These are all words that I like.
Good. Let's play. It'll be great.
Hitting him with the buzzwords.
That means there's pain and suffering.
Oh, yeah,
and
it's dark.
that makes me
Oh, there's
serious.
pain and suffering. It's a really great game.
I give people money to hurt me.
Well,
Good to know for next
no.
fan
you
fest.
actually only need one copy of the game, and 3 of your friends can come play with you.
Oh,
Good to know that at FanFest, because I'll just
Shut
push you out into traffic.
fuck up. I'm talking about like Yoko Taro and Yoshi P.
Stripping you off the strip.
Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
There you go.
It's the
But
meme.
yes, you would probably enjoy it, and you should
Yoko
play it.
Taro proposes a trade. You give him money, he gives you crippling depression.
Oh, I'm open to this trade too when I reopen my FIC commissions.
But yeah, those are our plans.
All right, so we'll be back next week with Kaislo on stream. We have a couple new games to play. There is FanFest, so some of us will for sure be there.
Cobron and I will be there.
Yes.
The rest of
I
us are
promise to try.
Color high
we're
water.
figuring it out, but
Yes.
come out to the FanFest if you've never been. Go check old videos. It's pretty rare to get to meet up, so that's really cool.
Yeah, they only happen once every 2 years, and I gotta say, after having gone to the last FanFest, it was like going to conventions like when I first started. Like there was that sense of wonder. Everybody there was there for the same thing. You could literally walk up to anybody and start a conversation because you're all there because you all love the same thing. And it's such a great experience, and the atmosphere is absolutely electric.
Yeah, it's got to be a little different than an anime con because those
Yeah,
are
or like
so-
any other. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little different though, right? It's like you're unified over one title, and you also have
Exactly.
other interests. Versus everybody's kind of there for a different vibe. I wonder
Right.
what that's like. I've never been to one of those.
Oh, it's amazing.
I very much want to experience it for sure.
Well, I guess we'll close out here. Thanks for coming to the stream. We've had pretty consistently 20 people watching the whole time, so really appreciate you. Please share, like if you're seeing the YouTube video, follow, all the stuff, and we'll see you all next week.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yep, thanks so much for coming out.
Take care, everyone.